You are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. That is Evo. Fuck the Yankees. Week 7 is here of the NFL. We got a game going on right now. Jags come back strong, second quarter, up going into half. But my man, Evo, welcome in. How you doing? Long day of football, weird schedule of football. I don't know. I don't like the way they're doing these schedules. We had the Thursday and then an early Sunday. We only have 3 afternoon games, 2 fucking Monday nights. What are we doing here, NFL? I don't get it, but
and possibly your best game of the week is happening in the morning slate, and there's no possibility of flexing. Like it's tough. I get it. Like, unless the NFL is scripted, and I'm sure there's some who even watch the show believe that it's somehow scripted. You don't know what the schedule is going to be like or what teams are going to be good or bad until the season starts rolling along. They need to provide some more flexibility, but that still doesn't change the fact that the Thursday night and Sunday morning and 2 Monday night games, like the 2 Mondays, still doesn't make sense to me
at all.
And
one even of starts at 9:00 Eastern.
Right, an even split between morning games and afternoon games. That makes sense. A Monday night game makes sense. A Sunday night game makes sense. You know, if you want to do a Europe game, having that before everyone else, that still makes sense. Like, I get it. But like the small slate in the afternoon and extra Monday night games, that just kind of feels dumb to me.
Yeah.
But
I don't like it. But you know what I do like? I like winning games. I like getting bets right. Man, I've had a good week. I had a nice little college football parlay that hit yesterday for a couple $100. Less than 600 though. So don't come after me, government. I'm ready to make some more money today. The picks have been, I mean, let's just call it a spade, mediocre at best. Last week, I go 7-7. You go 6-8. No, neither one of us has had a week where we go over 500. We need to make that change this week. And I feel like with divisional games,
it was a tough one.
Nice.
it was a tough one last week in general. This was the first time in 11 years that the top 9 sports books in Vegas all lost money because so many of just like the blatant favorites actually won. And so people who are just kind of passerby betters, oh, I'm going to bet on the favorite because the favorite should win. They were right that week, and Vegas actually took an L on that one. So, like the sports books did not do well last week either. It has been a weird betting season overall, partially for us because we have switched to this, I guess, a spread only model, and then partially because you're seeing a lot of different things, like who predicted that the NFC North is going to be the best division in football, where all 4 teams have a chance of making it to the playoffs, like essentially. I don't know now, with but we'll see. I still think the Bears aren't going to be as good as they are, but like there's an uncharacteristically good NFC North right now. You're seeing other teams not play as well that should be playing good. So it's an interesting season. This is kind of what we want, though. Parity. We always ask, we want parity in the NFL. We want to see teams that traditionally aren't as good do well, and those top teams not perform as awesome as usual. And you still have the Chiefs going 5-0, but they haven't looked dominant doing it. So maybe this week we'll see.
Maybe this week, everybody talked about the offseason, and it's continued to happen. It's the narrative been kind of growing for the last couple of years, is that the AFC is just so much more dominant. The quarterbacks are stacked. Everything is in the AFC. If you look at the AFC standings and then you go look at the NFC standings, there's a lot of good fucking teams, a lot of winning records in NFC football right now. Now, all of that's going to kind of start to change here a little bit. We're getting into a lot more divisional games this week. So we're going to see some of these NFC opponents start to knock each other down. But early NFC teams looking pretty damn good record-wise. Teams that we thought might be good in the AFC, not. Obviously, some injuries have played factors. Tua, obviously, that Dolphins team is much better if Tua's on the field. He's not there now. Might be back in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if we want. We'll talk about Tua to get to that game. But there's some storylines going on that we thought teams would be better, and they're just not. It's shown in the bets. But man, I feel confident this week. I'm ready to get this thing rolling and make the people and myself some more money. You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's jump into this NFL Sunday morning show. So, like you said, Jags and New England are going on right now. I don't currently have the game up because it's 2 teams that I'm relatively uninterested in, and I don't want to pull any extra resources from the Wi-Fi here in Sierra Vista, which always is shady. But Jags are ahead right now into the third quarter, 22-10. Jags team that, this is their second week out there in the UK. Their backs is absolutely against the wall, specifically Doug Peterson and, the front office. They got to get that win there in order to kind of keep their jobs, I think. And remind me, we both picked the Pats in this one plus the points.
Yeah, we both took Pats plus 5.5. Looked good early, and then a late surge by the Jags. Long bomb to Brian Thomas Jr. that we have talked about being a very good rookie wide receiver. I believe leads rookie wide receivers in yards right now. Malik Neighbors missed a couple games. Yeah. And then just Tank Bigsby is he's a tank. He has just been running through motherfuckers' faces, at least for the part that I caught this morning before we came down to do this. They went on an absolute tear there, their last 3 drives, and special teams play turning into a touchdown. I mean, that instantly flips momentum.
And I believe right now that they are real close to scoring again. That being said, Jags only 12 points ahead. This is NFL football. That gap can close quite quickly. We are looking at just under 10 minutes in the third quarter. So plenty of football left to play there. We'll kind of watch that game as it goes along. But we'll get in with the rest of our picks here.
I want to bring up one last thing on that, and the fact that we can easily come back here. Drake May, this offense is much more explosive with him in there at quarterback. They can actually score a little bit more points. So we're 5.5 is definitely doable still.
Yeah, for sure. So first game that we're going to be going over today. Actually, I don't remember what was the first game that we wanted to go over today.
Okay, so we have two different lists. We can run my list or we can run your list, but I think the first one we both had was Eagles Giants.
Yeah, Eagles Giants is what we're going to go over here first. So Philly going into New York Giants. Philly is favored in this one, -3 points, -104 odds, or Giants get 118 odds if you want to give them the points. Giants looking a lot better recently. I mean, I've been saying it all season long. The defense is legitimate, especially the front seven. They get overlooked a lot because of the Danny Dimes situation on offense. They haven't had Malik Neighbors, but they've still been able to put things together. It's kind of been all right for Danny Dimes out there. He has rejuvenated himself since week one. And he's looked to be at least a moderately competent quarterback, especially when compared to some of the other quarterback situations in the league. You know, that your Browns, yes, the Raiders, the Panthers, like there's some really dire spots. And so it makes Danny Dimes stick out less as much of a problem. Where are you going in this one, Mike?
So we talked a little bit on Thursday night, revenge game, non-revenge game for Sean Payton. He goes in, kicks the shit out of the Saints. This is a revenge game for Saquon Barkley. Saquon has heard all of these fucking Giants fans saying Saquon ain't do shit. Saquon couldn't do anything for us. Saquon is going to run all over this fucking Giants team. I know that they have a good defensive front. I know that this Eagles team is kind of stepping on their crank, specifically Nick Sirianni, who can't get the fuck out of his own way. I just believe that the Eagles are a better team, and I believe that Saquon is going to have this Eagles team hyped to go in there and kick the shit out of this divisional opponent. I understand the Giants will get Malik Neighbors back. That makes them better. But I'm rocking with revenge game. That's my narrative for this game. Revenge game for Saquon. Eagles -3.
And I think that definitely plays a factor for me. The thing is, within 3 points, I actually think that the Giants have a chance to win this one, like outright. So adding the points isn't such a terrible bet. That being said, Eagles, their offensive weapons, they got them back last week, right? Against your Brownies. They have AJ Brown, they've got their Devonta Smith. The one guy they don't really have is Dallas Goedert. He's going to be out with another hamstring injury, I believe. But he had to bear the workload while the receivers were down. Now the receivers are back. Things should open back up a little bit more. That Giants defense is sneaky tough, but you guys, they didn't do enough against you guys, albeit the Browns have a strong defense, but like the Eagles with their complement of weapons and the lack of offensive production from your Browns, you would think that they would start to be able to pull away, chip away, just because the Eagles offense is going to be on the field more. And it didn't happen, which still leaves us question marks about this Eagles team, their offense. They do feel kind of fake with how much talent that they have on there, which makes you immediately go to coaching. But Giants, they lose Andrew Thomas this week. That is going to be a huge loss. Their best offensive lineman. They've been able to have a good complementary run game that allows Daniel Jones to kind of pass the ball around a little bit more carefree. That losing Andrew Thomas is going to be huge for them, I think. I'm also going to drop the points here with the Eagles.
There we go.
An interesting stat here. Let me find it real quick. So road favorites last week were 9-0 against the spread.
Ooh-wee.
In the past 2 weeks, they've been 12-0 against the spread. When it comes to sports betting, you have to find those road favorites apparently this year. And Eagles are a road favorite. We're going to keep running with that. At least I am. And we're going to drop the points with the Eagles on this one.
Well, that makes it much more makes a lot of sense because we haven't been picking very well. And I don't know if you remember me saying home team getting points. I'm taking that because it makes a lot of sense. Well, apparently road fucking favorites 9-0 against the spread would explain why the fuck my picks haven't been very good. I'm glad that we're making a change there.
Yeah, it is something that is well worth paying attention to. I definitely paid attention to it this week when looking at games that we're going to be picking. All right. Next game that we're going to be moving into, Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored -9 the spread I feel like keeps on just getting bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that it has something to do with the quarterback situation out there for the Titans, because Mason Rudolph is starting this game, not Will Levis. Not that Will Levis is necessarily a huge bump, but also, look, but Mason Rudolph, you're not getting a guy who's going to go out there and win a game. You're getting a guy who's just running the offense and not much else. And that works in certain places. I don't know if it necessarily works in Tennessee. We talked about this in our recap show. Will Levis, for all the bad things that he does, he looked bad last week because he had so many targets dropped by Calvin Ridley. I want to point the finger at Calvin Ridley on this one even more than I do at Will Levis. And I'm not a Will Levis guy right now. I can tell you that. I'm kind of out on him. So, but we went over this on our recap show on Tuesday. If Calvin Ridley had made the catches that had gone his way, if he had made 70% of the catches that had gone his way, you're looking at probably another 80 yards on Will Levis's stat line. His completion percentage goes up, I believe, above 70%. Like, things looked good for Will Levis at that point, and it was a lot of dropped balls by Ridley that I really think tanked him. And now you see Mason Rudolph going in. You've got the Bills dropping 9 points with minus 112 odds, or the Titans getting those points for minus 108 odds. Where are you going at this one, Mike?
You said Mason Rudolph, right?
Yep.
That's pretty easy for me, dog. It's the Bills -9. I don't know that Mason Rudolph is going to provide any additional spark. He's not going to make any less mistakes. But you know what I think is going to be a big pop for this Bills team? Amari fucking Cooper. I think adding Amari Cooper, even if he has a limited route tree this week, it doesn't matter. He's going to give them a legitimate outside threat. Amari didn't want to be in Cleveland anymore. That's pretty apparent. Now, he was not playing well. He had a lot of drops. But was that because Amari didn't fucking care and didn't want to be here anymore? I don't know. But I think that the Bills going in and getting him is a good boost for them. That gives them a legitimate outside threat. It gives them an excellent route runner to mentor their young, big-bodied wide receiver who needs to learn how to run his fucking routes better, and Keon Coleman as well. Like, this is a smart play for the Bills. It works out for the Browns. We got an extra third-round pick. And, you know, if things continue to go badly, I hope we trade down. I don't want to draft a quarterback this draft. But like, I think that's going to be a big factor. A legit outside threat opens up the middle of the field for Josh to run and to utilize his tight ends a little bit more. So Bills -9.
And look, I absolutely think the Bills are going to smoke him this game. And I don't think Mason Rudolph provides any sort of a bump. 9 points is really tough for me to swallow, man.
Yeah, 9's a lot.
Like,
9 is a lot.
Because the Titans haven't like been blown out in any of these games. Their defense is pretty solid. They've shown to have a competent run game with their two backs there. And if they start catching just a couple more of these balls, again, Calvin Ridley, if you fucking catch some balls, things go a completely different direction. I'm going to take the Titans plus the points. I do not think the Titans have any business being in this game. I don't think they're that good of a team, but 9 points is a lot. I think that their defense can keep them in this game. The Bills need to just really lean on that run game. They showed with James Cook out last week that the guys that they have there, especially Ray Davis, can help them with a competent run game regardless. I could see this being a little bit of a lower scoring game and more methodical from the Bills, kind of going back to that run model that they did last week. And with that, I think the Bills are absolutely going to win. Let me be very clear. I think they're going to win.
Okay.
But I'm going to take the points with the Titans because I think it could be within that 9 points, a touchdown and a field goal. So I don't feel great about it just because, like, I miss our money line bets. I really do, because this is just a slam dunk Bills win on this one. But I'll take the Titans plus the points.
All right, Titans plus the points. And if you'd like to hear more conversations about dudes catching balls, we would love if you would like, share, and subscribe to the channel over on our YouTube page. You can see all of that here down below. We got X, Facebook, TikTok, the call line, which is open, and the YouTube, which is where we would love your subscription. Thank you guys very much. With that, Evo, let's roll into the next game, brother.
Yeah, next one up. Should be hopefully a pretty good game. Texans at the Packers. Currently, Packers are favored -3 points at -108 odds. You give the points to Texans with -112 odds. Houston on a 3-game winning streak. Packers are 0-2 against teams that are over 500. Mike, what are your thoughts on this game?
Man, this game, I was expecting the line to be a little different. Packers at home, dropping points. Listen, they've played better. We still have a lot of questions about Jordan Love. I know I do. His accuracy is still a problem. The knee is getting better. You can see that he's getting healthier, though. He's going to have really good moments. He has arm talent. He's going to have some bonehead moments, too, where he puts balls in places where he shouldn't because he's not nearly as accurate as he would need to be. With that being said, this Houston team has not really beat anybody. Like, they have kind of played to their opponent. Teams that they are superior, like way superior than, they haven't put them away. They've lost games that we didn't feel like they should have. But I just believe, and when it comes down to these two young quarterbacks, man, I believe in CJ Stroud way more than I believe in Jordan Love. These are two good teams. But I got to go with the guy that I think is the better quarterback, and he's getting points. Give me Houston.
All righty.
Yeah, plus 2.5 for me.
And look, Joe Mixon coming back last week for the Texans was big for them. You actually saw the semblance of the run game again. They ended up trading Cam Akers over to my Vikings, so they're feeling good about Mixon and what he's doing there. Makes a lot of sense. They're still missing Nico Collins, so we're going to be seeing a lot more of that Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, and Stephon Diggs game. Stephon Diggs, by the way, back from his time in Minnesota, him and Jair Alexander, they don't have a friendly relationship. So expect to see some potential on the field interaction between the two of them. And I'm hoping to see a big game from Stephon Diggs today. I really am. That being said, Packers in Green Bay, very tough team to play there. Packers have been beating up on people. But again, any team that's over 500, they're 0-2 against. They've played some tight games against those teams. But I'm going to drop the points. I'm going to go with the NFC North being very good. And again, the Texans, like you brought up, they've not been who we thought that they were going to be this year, despite having a winning record. They haven't really taken control of any of these games. They really haven't blown anyone out except for last week. So I'm going to be going with the Packers, dropping the points here. I hate to do that. You know me, I'm not a Packers fan, but I got to try to hit some of these bets here. So I'm taking the Packers, dropping the points.
All right. So we got a lot of disagreements so far. I'm here for it. Let's run the next one, brother.
All righty. Next up, Dolphins and Colts. So interesting quarterback situations here on both sides. Dolphins obviously running with Huntley still, but we might be seeing Tua here in the near future, as soon as next week possibly. And Anthony Richardson, AR-15, going to be starting out there instead of Joe Flacco. Also, Colts without Jonathan Taylor for another week. I think that this is bad news if you are a fantasy owner of Colts wide receivers like myself. Josh Downs has been fantastic for me as a waiver wire pickup because Flacco can pass him the ball. Now we're getting Anthony Richardson out there who might, provide a boon to Alex Pierce, though Alex Pierce is still done good.
Alex Pierce is going to be fucking catching bombs.
And he's still done good with Flacco.
The only thing he's getting is a bomb. But
so his value might not necessarily change because Richardson's out there, but guys like a Pittman and Downs, their values might absolutely change in this one. We haven't really seen those numbers shift yet in the fantasy sports apps, but expect that to happen. You have a Dolphins team here who's still just like they had the bye. They're maybe figure something out with Huntley to make it look a little bit better, but I think that they're still probably looking more into the future for when Tua comes back, because Tua is going to come back. Like I said it after the injury, I think that he's going to be back. I think he's going to be back in like 4 to 6 weeks. And whether or not he should be back, that's still a question mark, but I don't think it matters anymore. Tua is going to be coming back. This team does not operate well without Tua. It'll be interesting to see if he's okay, I guess, when he gets on the field. I think it would be the ballsiest play. And I know that we're getting a little bit, over our toes here, but run a fucking quarterback sneak with him first play. Like, let's get fucking shifty here. I say let's fucking do it. And McDaniel is on enough of the booger sugar that I think that he would consider it. So, but we're coming down to this game specifically this week. It's tough for me to take the Dolphins at this point. Like they still, like I said, they have all of the fucking offensive weapons out there with less than quarterback play, but we've seen other teams be able to work around that. We've seen other teams be able to be quarterback proof, and the Dolphins haven't proven to be that at all. Against bad teams, they haven't proven to be that at all. They're not able to get the ball in their hands of their playmakers and make anything happen. So for me, I'm taking Colts dropping the points, -3 for -106 odds. If you want to give the points to Miami, it's -114 odds. I can't give Miami points at this point because they aren't doing anything with them. Like past several weeks, we have seen nothing from any quarterback that they put out there, let alone Huntley, who has been consistently out there or more consistently from their backups. Maybe the bye week provides them something and they figured something out, but it's a tough situation there. And I think they're probably just looking ahead towards when Tua comes back a little bit. This is definitely a scary game for me to drop the points with the Colts with Anthony Richardson in there because there's such high volatility. But going into the Loud House, into Indianapolis there, I think that the Colts will be able to pull this one out and we can drop the points.
Yeah, man. And I am actually going to do the same thing. So I think Colts playing at home is going to be a huge factor. Anthony Richardson knows how to operate there. But I think that if things don't go well and say the fans have a reaction, they still have somebody in their back pocket. They know that Joe Flacco can come in and win this game at any time if he is absolutely needed to. Yeah. I think AR-15 could win this game on his own, but it's going to be, huge play or negative play, huge play, negative play.
It's going to be scary when Richardson figures out how to pass the ball. It's going to that offense could legitimately be scary. But again, we haven't seen that yet. And I don't expect to see it fucking this week.
I don't think so either, but they are good enough. He is good enough to get some points. Miami can't fucking score. Anthony Richardson can score. It's going to be huge play, negative play, huge play, negative play, but they can fucking score when he's on the field. Miami just cannot figure out a way to score the football without Tua. And I don't know why. They have a shitload of weapons. When they brought Mike in, they're like, hey, he's the Tua whisperer. He's going to get this guy right. And you know what? They were fucking right. He's done a great job with Tua. He cannot get anybody else to operate that fucking system, though. It's a conundrum. I don't get it. I can't pick the Dolphins. So, yeah, Colts -3.
Yep, same here. All right, next up, we have the Seahawks rolling into Atlanta. Falcons are favored -3 points at -115 odds, or you can give the points to the Seahawks for -105 odds. Falcons have won 3 straight games. Seahawks lost 3 straight games. We have seen these teams diverging in different directions here. All right. Seahawks traveling a far distance out there to Atlanta. It's pretty typical for those Seahawks. They have to do a lot of traveling. This is going to be a bad defensive game. Both these defenses are not great. There's not much else to put out about those defenses. Like the Seattle defense is beaten up, banged up, especially on the defensive front. They make a trade this last week to try to help out some. I don't think it's going to create that big of a difference. And then on the flip side, you have the Atlanta Falcons who can create zero pressure on the quarterback, which is going to be.
The last time they had a sack? Week 1? When is the last fucking. Jesus Christ, man. They cannot generate any pressure.
No, not at all. But that being said, the Falcons has shown the capability to put up points when they need to and at will if they need to. Like between Algier and Bijan, I know we've had our conversations who's the better fit there and who's doing better. They're both able to do pretty fucking good. It's a crime that Bijan's still not getting involved in the passing game, but they're both pretty fucking good. And then you're seeing Pitts used a little bit smarter. You're seeing Drake London show a little bit why he was a first-round pick. You got Mooney and other guys. Ray McLeod's getting involved. Like you have a bunch of offensive weapons, and you have a guy who's able to go out there and make every single throw and find those open targets. He might not be clutch, but he's been clutch this year in a lot of those primetime games in Kirk Cousins. I have way more faith in the Falcons at home with that offense being able to put up points against the Seattle defense that can't do a whole lot versus the Seahawks, who I know Kenneth Walker was listed as questionable due to an illness. I don't know if he's playing yet or not. Typically for an illness, you would think that they will, but he's traveling a long distance and everything as well. So who knows? I'm just not trusting the offensive weapons as much. You're seeing like DK Metcalf get really frustrated on the sidelines with Seattle too. I'm dropping the points here for Atlanta. Atlanta minus 3 points. I feel like this is as good as both these offenses can be and as bad as both of the defenses can be. I still have more confidence in Atlanta being able to do a really good job, especially after that last game versus the Bucks that they had. Like that still hangs in my mind where it was a little bit more of a shootout and they were able to beat the Bucks. Like I feel like the Bucks are a better team than Seattle, and so if Atlanta's able to beat them, they should be able to beat Seattle. So Atlanta minus the 3 points here. I wish there was a hook somewhere in here though, so that way we don't run the risk of pushing it.
Yeah. I am also going the same way, man. We're starting to kind of catch a rhythm on what we think because Seattle is on a downward trend. I don't think that necessarily flips. It's a long travel to play an offense that has explosive weapons, whether we think that they utilize them right or not, which they're not utilizing Bijan correctly. I think we both agree on that fucking point. And they got a Falcons team. Sure, they don't generate pressure, but they're going to score enough, like you brought up. That team is explosive, can be super, super explosive. We saw it last week. They beat the fucking brakes. God, I don't even remember who they were playing last week. They scored 47 or some shit, wasn't it? I'm about to go look exactly how many points it was. But regardless, I like the Falcons in this game as well. 38.
38-20 versus the Panthers. Yeah.
Okay, so it is the Panthers.
But I mean, if you look at what the Falcons have been doing, they've consistently putting up a lot of points.
Yes, they put up points. The Seahawks defense is bad. I don't know that offense has anything outside of Kenneth Walker. They have struggled with Kenneth Walker has not been 100%. Sure, it's an illness. He's probably going to play. But that offense cannot generate consistent enough. You get huge plays from DK, but I still think that they are not getting JSN involved enough. Lockett will disappear at times. They're getting a little old on offense, and they're not really getting JSN involved as much as I think they should. So, yeah, Falcons minus 3.
As of 2 hours ago, they're still unsure whether or not Kenneth Walker is going to be played. I don't know if that moves the needle enough for me to pick differently in this. So,
yeah, Falcons minus 3.
Yes, sticking with the Falcons. All right, next up, we have your game. Bengals coming into Cleveland versus your Brownies. Brownies getting 5.5 points at minus 112 odds. Bengals are favored here, minus 108 odds. Traditionally, and you've talked about this a lot, the Bengals do not play well there in Cleveland. You also are getting a little bit of a boost from Nick Chubb coming back. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are going to be on this game because it's not been great for your Browns this year. Defense has still looked good. You guys are now without an Amari Cooper, one less offensive weapon. And Bengals are 3-0 against the spread in road trips this year. Where are you going?
Well, I have a feeling that at the end of this, we're gonna end up disagreeing, but I'm okay with that. Listen, I cannot explain how excited I am to watch the Cleveland Browns today, and I have not had that feeling since probably about week 3. Nick Chubb coming back is a huge needle mover for me. I think it is going to actually revitalize the team a little bit. If you go back and you look at any of the times that he spoke to the media this week, everybody is pumped that Nick is there. It is very well known that Nick is beloved everywhere in that building, within the city. I am interested to see what the offense looks like today with Nick Chubb in, because I can't expect Nick Chubb to go back and just be Nick Chubb. I would love for that to happen today. I would love for him to come out and just run it right down Cincinnati's throat and put up 150 and 2 touchdowns. But that's wildly unrealistic, especially against with this pretty terrible offensive line, even though we're playing a Bengals defensive line that's atrocious. I think Nick can come in and get 12 carries. I think that's an appropriate workload. 10 to 15, 12 like being the number, generate 60 yards of offense. Maybe he punches one in at the end zone if we get close down to the end. And I also really think that this Bengals offense, for some reason, struggles against our team. I don't know. I am going to ride with my Browns because of the return of Nick Chubb. I think there is a huge lift. And if things don't go well, it's over. We have to win today. With Nick Chubb's return, we have to win today. If we don't, it's over. Like the Deshaun thing, it's final. It is. We can't win with Deshaun at quarterback. Or Stefanski has to be fired because he cannot call an offense that allows for Deshaun to be successful. One of the two things has to happen. You can be on either side. I don't really give a fuck. But if the offense doesn't look good at all today, with the addition of Nick Chubb, going against a porous Cincinnati Bengals defense, it's over. And I'm not ready for football season to be over yet. So I'm riding with the Browns plus 5.5.
Alrighty. And look, I hate to break it to you, but I feel like the season is kind of already over. Like you're 1-5, man. And it's a tough spot to be in. I was looking at something last night, the statistics compared to the 0-16 season that the Browns had. And a lot of the offensive statistics are worse right now.
Yeah, no, we are. And it's been talked about. So a lot of our friends like the Barker Browns, Carnes, Case Kinnaman, Jacob Broach, who by the way has written some excellent articles recently. Go check those out. They have talked about it ad nauseum, like the offensive stats. Not that I'm upset because they're fucking 100% right. It's atrocious. It is the worst offense. And I saw another stat, the Deshaun Watson's first 17 games as a Brown, his stats were comparable to Baker Mayfield's year when he had the injury, which is awful because Baker did not play good at all. What makes matters worse, and a point that nobody else brings up, is that Baker didn't play all 17 games that year. He skipped the last game, which was a terrible move. And he missed part of a game because of injury. Now, Deshaun also missed parts of games because of injury, but Baker's season was only 16 games, and Deshaun's first 17 games were on par with it. So there's no way around it. It's been fucking terrible.
Yeah. And like the 5.5 points, the 5 and a hook, obviously I took your Browns last week with the points, and that worked out well for me against that Eagles team. The Bengals are different. They're like the Eagles have tons of offensive firepower. They got a ton of good defenders too, but they just don't put a good product out in the field. This Bengals team does put a good product out in the field on offense outside of the first 2 weeks when they're still in their preseason, apparently. Yes, the defense is pretty terrible, but you guys aren't structured to strike against that defense. Just the offense has been that bad. As far as Nick Chubb coming back, look, man, I want to see the story continue with him. I want to see that, I love not an underdog necessarily, but a comeback story, a guy beating the odds and coming back from an injury. The knee injuries just still scare me a bunch, and to have the weight of that town on his shoulders.
Your guy, AD did it. Nick Chubb can do this.
Well, yeah, but Peterson, his injuries were different. Like it wasn't that bad of knee injuries that he sustained. Like ACL tears and stuff like that.
When ACL tears ended careers.
Yeah, for sure. But he didn't have his knee like bent backwards, twice.
Yeah, that's true. Twice is tough.
Like it scares me a lot, and I want the best for him. But he's got, and we know the dude can squat a lot, but he's got the weight of the whole fucking city on his back right now. Without an offensive line in front of him, it still is scary to me. I want to see him do good. I don't know that it's enough to uplift the team. And then I still have to ride with the previous stat. Bengals 3-0 against the spread on the road, and road favorites 9-0 against the spread last week, 12-0 in the past 2 weeks. Bengals are a road favorite here. I'm going to drop the points. Even though the hook there, the 5 and a hook for the Browns gives me a little bit of pause because I'm thinking, with how bad the Bengals typically do play there in Cleveland, it's possible this game could be a lot closer than people are expecting. But I am going to drop the points for the Bengals on this one. Bengals minus 5.5.
Yeah, I already got it wrote in here because I figured that was coming.
All righty. And typically, unfortunately, when I pick opposite of you with your Browns games, it tends to work out for me.
For you, yeah, it tends to work out for you. That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what I get.
I don't know why. There's a trend there though, for sure.
There's
Alrighty. Next up, we'll get into, I guess, my game, which is the game that I think obviously I'm biased for my Vikings, but
100%.
we're talking about two teams that are
Very
potentially
good.
top 5 in this league, not just in the NFC North.
These are the top 2 teams in the NFL right now.
Like you have to throw in the Chiefs.
Lions are playing way better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs are winning, but they are not one of the best teams in football right now.
I'm biased with it, but not only is this huge for two teams that are probably top 5 in the league, it's a divisional matchup where whoever wins this game takes the North as of right now. Because with the Vikings still being 5-0, if they lose to the Lions here, 5-1, Lions are 5-1, and they have the tiebreaker. All right. Lions offense absolutely dicks down Dallas last week in Dallas, which, we have our thoughts on the Cowboys, but that's still a lot of points that they put up. The big deal is that they lost Aiden Hutchinson, right? So Aiden Hutchinson having a prolific year, I don't know how they're going to replace his production. Hutchinson over, these first 6 games, 45 pressures. The next highest pressure rate on this team is Onwuzurike with 17. And then defensive lineman Ali McNeil had 16. I don't know where they're going to be getting the extra pressure from. There's lots of talks of do they need to trade for someone, and I absolutely think that if they want to save their season, they need to, because the secondary, while it does have some really good guys back there, Brian Branch in particular, they're still susceptible to giving up these big plays. The secondary is suspect to an extent, and then if that defensive line isn't getting any pressure, it's just going to add even more problems for that secondary. And you're going up against my Vikings team. They are able to do a lot passing the ball. Aaron Jones expected to play this game. He's going to be able to affect the game in the run game, but also as a receiver. We're not seeing any TJ Hawkinson. They did say that he's out for this game despite practicing, and apparently his GPS metrics showing that he's faster than he was before the injury. That's a lot of fluff to me. I want to see it on the field, but traditionally Hawkinson has come off of injury or coming into not having played with this team that puts up big games. Like when Hawkinson's back, which I think he'll be back for a Thursday game next week, he's going to be at full speed, full strength, ready to go. You don't want to throw him into a fucking bare knuckles brawl, which is what this game is probably going to end up being, is a fucking bare knuckles brawl, because we got this explosive offense and an explosive defense for the Vikings. This 2 head coaches on this team with nothing but creativity, and especially on that defense, a whole lot of vigor and interesting fucking assignments and plays. Like Flores was asked this week, Ben Johnson has so much creativity on his side of the ball. What are you going to do to compete with that? And he said, I'm fighting fire with fire this week. And that really makes me go 6 to midnight, because I know Flores can do that. He has
shit.
He has a lot of crazy shit that he can do. Now, Jared Goff is one of the better quarterbacks against pressure, but you also have a guy in Aaron Rodgers who is known for being good against pressure. He is one of the smartest when it comes to football and at quarterbacks out there. And we get 3 interceptions and a pick 6 against him, which is unheard of. Every quarterback that we've gone up against, and there's been some good ones this year, has been basically put in a blender, because Flores is just doing some crazy ass shit with that defense. He's scheming so well. And we had the extra week to plan and prepare for this, being on bye week. Vikings are the only undefeated team against the spread this year. Yes, they didn't play last week, so that matters a little bit, but the only team undefeated against the spread. That home crowd, especially when we were playing versus the Texans, showed to be insane. They got multiple penalties called against that team, against the Texans, just because of how loud they were. I expect, like, the fans know how big of a game this is, so US Bank Stadium is going to be rocking. And then back to that Lions pass defense being rough. Nick Mullins was our quarterback last year for our 2 games versus the Lions. Nick Mullins threw for over 800 yards in those 2 games versus the Lions. If we're putting out a Sam Darnold who has been playing better, yes, he still is going to have his 1 or 2 plays where he's turnover worthy per game, which could absolutely matter big time in this game. because I think it's going to be a shootout to an extent. I have more faith in Darnold being able to put up big games than Mullins. And Mullins, again, 800 yards in 2 games, a bunch of tuds. So it's going to be fun to watch. I don't know, will the Lions have the stamina after trotting out offensive linemen to get catches on offense and everything like that versus the Cowboys last week? Are they going to have the stamina to go? This is a really, really good team in the Lions, like well coached. They are that black and blue type of team. They're good at running the ball. Vikings have been very good against the run, but that being said, they've gotten big leads early, and then teams have gone away from the run. They've gone to the pass. So with the 2 running backs there in Detroit, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Flores' defense stacks up against that offense. As far as our offense going against the Lions defense, I mean, I want to give them credit because they're a very good team, but I feel much more confident in our offense being able to go out there and compete, especially with Aaron Jones in the backfield. So I think that Vikings are absolutely going to be able to put up plenty of points here, and it's going to be whether or not Flores' creativity is going to stack up well against that Lions creativity. I'm really hoping for a good game here. I would love to see a Vikings like 30-33 versus a Detroit 17-20. I don't know that I'm going to see that though, because these are 2 fucking really good teams. This is a playoff game that you're getting to see here in week 7. And I'm legitimately worried.
Game of 50.5 as well.
Yeah. I'm legitimately scared going up against the Lions. I feel like, especially after, I didn't expect what I saw versus the 49ers. I didn't expect what I saw versus the Texans this year. But now I kind of feel like this is what this team is. They're very good, and they're going up against a very good team. So we absolutely have a shot here. A lot of the Vegas money is on the Lions on this one. So it's a tough one here. I don't blame anyone for taking the Lions plus the points, but I'm going to ride my Vikings minus the 1.5 for this game.
Okay. All right. So my analysis is going to be a little quicker because I'm going to scream about something here in just a second. Yeah, turn the headphones down, everybody. So listen, man, you guys are a very, very, very good team. I think the Lions' run game is going to be easily the best run game you guys have faced all year. Like you brought it up yourselves, you haven't had to deal with a run game that just keeps coming at you and keep coming at you and keep coming at you. Maybe against the 49ers, but not this Lions team is so dynamic with their backfield. Montgomery, they got him going. The way they can work off a play action pass, they're very good. This is going to be an excellent game. I could be completely wrong. This is going to be one of the closest games we have all week. I expect this to be the game of the week, maybe game of the year level type game. One of those playoffs in fucking October games. So I'm very, very excited. But there is something different about this Lions team. They are special. They are buying in. That loss to the Buccaneers, man, it set a fire up under this team's ass because they could not get the ball. They could not get that run game going. They have had no fucking problem since. They re-signed their guy. I love your Vikings team. I root for your Vikings team. But, man, this Lions team is on a fucking warpath. I think you guys are the top 2 teams in the NFL right now. And I think the Lions might be the number 1 team. If they can get a guy in to bring some pass rush to replace Hutchinson, they're going to the Super Bowl. They're fucking really good right now. They are playing special. They are playing hot. I cannot wait to watch this game. If the Lions would like to do a deal for some players to bring in, I know the Browns would love to trade some guys because obviously we don't want a chance to win based on the thing that I'm reading right now. Jameis Winston has been inactivated for today's game. He is serving as the emergency 3rd quarterback. So Nick Chubb will be back. There is no way that Deshaun Watson is coming out of this game. There's no way that we can call for Jameis Winston if things start to go bad because he's not fucking inactive. So if the Lions would like to call for a Denzel Ward and a Zadarius Smith, we'll give you a combo package because you could use some DB help and you could use some pass rush help. A 1 and a 4th, and we'll make that fucking happen. What the fuck are we doing? Why would we not have him active? We don't want to win. Browns 5.5 is dog shit. Don't fucking pick that, everybody else. That's dog shit now. I'm going to stick with it because I already fucking put it out. But go with the Bengals minus 5.5. Why would they not have him active?
Yeah, to take away the option, I guess. That's one thing I didn't bring up with your game is I'm still waiting for the game where Jameis ends up finally getting in there and things kind of, all of a sudden there's a little pop. And I guess it's not going to happen this game.
Oh my God,
that sucks. One last thing here.
We're trying to lose, right? We got to be like.
It feels like it at this point. Which then it's like, why do you trot Chubb out there other than an emotional?
Why are we doing this to Nick Chubb? We're not going to get. And if I hear one more fucking time that Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win, and you don't even give us another fucking legitimate option to win, nothing against DTR, but we've seen him start in the past on short notice. It doesn't fucking go well. So we are not even giving ourselves the chance, bro. Hey, when we get the first or second overall pick, trade down. Do not draft a quarterback. We're not any good. Just fucking trade down and get more picks. Fleece the Saints. I put out a mock draft yesterday because, well, I didn't want to give up on the season, but it's kind of hard not to right now.
I feel you. With this Lions-Vikings game, are you
Lions plus 1.5. I like the Lions.
and I don't blame
need people to make sure that they make it to where they want to go. Call the fucking Browns because we don't want to win.
At one point in time, this game was plus 2.5 for the Lions, and I considered just with how, good of a game that this could be and taking those points. But I'm going to ride with my Vikings in this one. Other little stat for this game, the Vikings so far have had the 4th toughest schedule in the league. Lions, 22nd toughest schedule.
Ooh,
so it matters a little bit, but look, today is going to show us a lot. It's going to show us a lot about these two teams. All right, and I believe that is our morning slate of games.
All right, so let me go ahead and pop up the entire morning slate so that people can get their morning bets in. All right, so we both got the Broncos right. I'm not sure. We got to check in on the Patriots game here in just a second where that's sitting at right now. But we both took Eagles -3. I went Bills -9. You went Titans +9. I went Houston +2.5. You went Packers -2.5. Both on the Colts at -3. Both on the Falcons at -3. I took my Browns. Don't take the fucking Browns now. You took the Bengals at -5.5. I went Lions +5.5. And you, of course, took your Vikings, dropping the 1.5. That is your morning slate of games.
Patriots are making a little bit of progress. It's 25-16 now. Jaguars in the lead. So a little bit closer of a game, but not by much.
All right. Well, listen, you know what? All I got to do, Patriots, all I got to do is be within 5.5. And guys, if you bet along with us, if you play the morning slate, man, let us know. Drop that in the comments. Fucking tag us, post. But you know what we really love is if you guys would like, share, and subscribe to our page. It's vitally important to what we are trying to do. And if you guys have the time to do that, we would greatly appreciate it. Specifically over on our YouTube, Lineman Lounge, and then check out all of the other things that we have at nosleevesnetwork.com. But with that, Evo, let's roll into the afternoon slate of games.
And we are going to get to this Niners game here, Joe Rockstar. But Mike, yes, Mike is swerving right off the rails.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna drive off a fucking cliff. I'm sorry that I had to derail the show like that, but when I see that as a Browns fan, what am I to think?
Oh, Joe, 16 for 16 last week.
Against the spread, or
he's probably, look, like I said, all the favorites won. So if you just pick the favorites, Joe, you probably would have won every game.
We're going to need to have Joe Rockstar on here for a 49ers breakdown here pretty soon.
Yeah, before too long. All righty. So only 3 games in our afternoon slate. Yes, there's still Sunday night football, but 3 games here in our afternoon slate. So you can absolutely put all 3 of those up on your screen if you got the Sunday ticket. But we'll go with our first one here. Carolina Panthers at Washington Commanders. Commanders are favored -9.5 in this one at -115 odds, -105 for the Panthers. Mike, who do you got in this one?
Well, when we're talking about massive spreads, like this is a really tough sell because we're talking about a rookie quarterback covering 2 scores. That's a lot. That's a fuckload. This Commanders team is pretty goddamn good, though. And they get back a huge piece at running back this week. Jaden Daniels is a fucking dog. I expect Jaden Daniels to go out there and show the Panthers, like, hey, this is what you could get if you do right by your rookie quarterback. Provide some things around him, some weapons, running game, maybe a fucking offensive line, even though Jaden Daniels could probably still use a couple guys up front protecting him. I really think that the Commanders blow the fucking doors off the Panthers. 9.5 is so many fucking points, but I'm going to drop 9.5. I thought 9 was a shitload with the Bills, but 9.5 on a rookie, that's a ballsy play. But I got a big old set of brass balls here, so I'm going to do it. Commanders -9.5.
Yeah, 9.5. You know, I don't like to touch those sorts of spreads because it feels fucking really dirty. In this case, yeah, Andy Dalton's going to be starting, and he's a lot better for this Panthers team. But again, no defense for the Panthers. There's no defense. Like J.C. Horn's the one guy that you got out there that's worth a shit, and he's not even looking great because he's playing around a bunch of garbage. And I'm sorry to the players on the team, but just is not good. All right, you're backup level players in a lot of spots. You've lost your best defender on the defensive line. It's not good there for the Panthers. On the flip side, Commanders are pretty fucking good on offense. Jaden Daniels is doing good things out there. Yeah, they dropped one last week to the Ravens, but the Ravens are one of the best teams in the league still. Like this Commanders team and their offense specifically is legit. The defense, not great. Allen goes down with a pec injury, I believe. That's definitely going to hurt them on defense, but this is an offensive game, a game of bad defenses. I'm going to drop the points as well.
Oh, shit.
It's
Evo dropping fucking over 8 points? No way.
Yeah, it's a tough one here. But look, the Commanders are just that much better on offense. They should, especially playing at home with their crowd, they should be able to put up a whole bunch of points in this one. So yeah, going with the Commanders. Panthers, if you're looking at possibly offloading some assets, we'll take Adam Thielen back in Minnesota. I mean, I could love having him back in his home state playing for his team again. That would be great. You know, we'll just toss you like in 2026 or something like that. That'd be great. Not to push Jalen Naylor out because I love what he's been doing, but seeing JJ, Addison, Thielen, and Hawkinson all out there, I mean, that's a fucking offense I would love to see playing. So,
by the way, I want a first and a fourth for Denzel Ward and Zadarius Smith Lions. First,
that's you brought that up, right? We'll see. We'll see. If they're packaging first round picks, I feel like they might be going for a Max Crosby if he's available. All right. Next up, we have the Vegas Raiders going into LA versus the Rams. Rams are favored -7.5 in this one, and the odds are +100 for this. +7.5 points, giving those points to the Raiders -122 odds. Rams team coming off a bye. We say this every week. They're beat up, but they are getting healthier and they're making it work with the guys that they have. Look, that's a telltale sign. If Vegas is giving you plus odds to drop those points, things might be a little bit funky there, right? Where are you going with this game, Mike?
Well, I like the fact that the Rams are always scrappy. Like they're a very good team that fights hard no matter what. They got some guys back, but I was thinking Cooper Kupp's going to be back. Cooper Kupp's not going to be playing in this game. By the way, Walker, I believe, is playing in the Seattle game. This is the information that I saw. Aaron Jones also playing in today's game. But the Raiders team, they've been kind of scrappy as well. 7 points is a lot. I don't know that I really like this Rams team right now. The odds obviously tell you that Vegas is leaning towards like the Vegas can cover this. Minus 122 odds. I think that's what they're still at, where you're getting even odds to cover. Like Vegas is telling you, like, we're not going to pay you as much money. This is probably a touchdown game, 7-point game. So since I'm getting the hook, I'm going to take the Raiders plus the 7.5.
Yeah, this is the Raiders team that, is kind of without a quarterback. They don't know what they're doing there with Gardner or Aiden O'Connell. They obviously are without Devontae now. They've been without Devontae, though. That's the way that you should look at this, is they've been without him because of a hamstring injury.
Yes.
Like a hamstring. Interesting how he shows up immediately in New York, immediately has cleats made already has the jersey and everything good to go, and is there hanging out with his boyfriend Sharon Rodgers. Like, this was a done deal much further ahead of time, I believe, than what was led on. That being said, like, it is going into LA. I'm going to drop the points here for the Rams. Like, I don't like this Raiders team. I don't think they're very good right now. I should be taking the points with the Raiders 7.5, because I don't see the Rams blowing people out more than a touchdown. And plus those odds are telling you, like, you should be taking the Raiders. If Vegas is giving you plus 100, like, there's something's odd there. I'm going to drop the points with the Rams. My gut, that's a gut play for me here, just because they're a better team. I like the way that McVay coaches them and the offensive weapons that they have, even without Cooper Kupp. I like the Rams better here, and I don't know what sort of offensive talent the Raiders really have outside of Bowers right now. Yes, that's what they've been operating with for a while, but they haven't been doing much for a while.
Myers? Is he active? Is he active today?
I think so. Not positive. But yeah, I'm going to take the Rams, drop the points here. And that allows us to get on to our last of the afternoon slate of games. They're actually a good game here.
No, Joe, there are no cliffs. There is a lake, though.
An actual good game that we got coming up here. Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers. Super Bowl rematch. The Niners are favored in this one, minus a 1.5, minus 114 odds. Or you can give that 1.5 to the Chiefs, minus 106 odds. Niners have lost in my birthday weekend 2 years in a row. If it happens a third time against the Chiefs, I'm canceling my future birthdays. Look, Joe, we're all getting older. You're definitely getting older. We don't need to have those birthdays anymore, right? We can just kind of forget about it.
Yeah. The forever nap sounds like it might be okay.
I'm not going that far.
Well, he said he's going to cancel his future birthdays.
He's just not going to acknowledge them, maybe.
Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. Veteran brain started like churning like.
Absolutely. Well, look, KC coming off of a bye, they're 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. Kansas City's defense is holding offenses to an average of 60 yards less than what their normal offensive output is. And then Mahomes is 12-1 against the spread as an underdog. This game is a very close spread already. I'm going to take the Chiefs plus the points. I'm just going to come out with that. Look, I like this 49ers team a lot. I think the Chiefs are overrated based off of their play that they've had, even though they are undefeated. The 49ers, I like the team a lot. Not going to see Juwan Jennings out there. I don't know if that really matters. Joe Rockstar, is Ricky Pearsall going to be playing in this one? That's what I know. I know they opened up the window. Is he going to be playing after being shot in the chest? And while Joe comes back to us with that one, Mike, what do you got in this game?
Listen, I was kind of keeping this under wraps. Like my pick from before with your team, there will be no more undefeated teams after this week in the NFL. Chiefs go down, Vikings go down, no more undefeated teams. We are in week 7. Decent little run. The 72 Dolphins will be popping their champagne. Woohoo! We're the only motherfuckers that did this. But I like the 49ers, man. The Chiefs have not been that great. And I kind of alluded to this earlier. They're undefeated, but they're not one of the top teams in the NFL right now. They're not playing like one by any means. Pat Mahomes has been very fucking average so far this year. Travis Kelce has looked kind of average, even though I love Travis Kelce. Love the Kelce brothers. By the way, their beer, garage beer, pretty good. Drink it with a lime. But it's pretty good. But that Chiefs team has not impressed by any means. The 49ers,
defensively they have, but
defensively they're fantastic. They're very, very good. But I really like what the offense does for the 49ers. Brock Purdy is a dog, dude. He is a really good fucking quarterback. Sure. Does he benefit from the Shanahan system? Yes. Every quarterback, if you put any fucking quarterback in the NFL in that system, they would also benefit. Like, it's not like you couldn't do the same shit. Shanahan just makes people better. And Brock Purdy's really fucking good already. So I like the Niners. I like dropping 1.5 in a close game. 3-point game still will be good. But when we're talking 1.5, I'm thinking winner. I'm not necessarily worried about a 2-point game. I'm not a 1-point game. So give me the Niners, I think, in a win, even though they're going out to Kansas City, aren't they? Or is it in?
No, this is in San Fran.
Oh, I'm still going.
San Fran.
Yeah, that's why you're going with the Chiefs, aren't you?
No, not necessarily. It's just all the other stats that, like, Kansas City is really good off of bye. Mahomes is really good as a underdog, especially on the road. Like, I like San Francisco. They could still win this game, and then that 1.5 matters to me, if they barely eke it out. So I would also like to see this Kansas City Chiefs team go down and not be undefeated, just because I feel like, it's never fake when a team is undefeated, especially at this point in the season.
Sometimes it is.
But they
when the Steelers were undefeated 11-0, we're like, that team is not fucking that good.
Yeah, it's just they've not put up any product outside of their defense that really has wowed me there with Kansas City. They just do what they need to do to get by and get the wins. And I feel like they're going to do what they need to do to get by and at least get this game close enough where my 1.5 can matter there for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
All righty. That takes us to Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jets favored -2.5 points at -110 odds, or you can give the Steelers those 2.5 points. Russ Wilson is starting, and is he going to be rusty? Maybe.
No.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, man. I get that you brought this guy in thinking that he was going to be a more established quarterback, but you've seen what Justin Fields has been able to do. I put up on the Lineman Lounge Facebook page this week comparison stats between him and I believe it was like CJ Stroud or something like that, and how their stats are very similar.
Very close.
And look, the eye test tells you something different completely, and I get that. But Justin Fields has made this Steelers team competitive.
Ugly but effective. That's what Justin Fields' quarterback play is. It's ugly, but it's effective.
It's like what. You got to keep riding with the hot hand, man. Like,
it's my approach shot to try to fucking make a par that I just piss across the ground and rolls up on the green. Luckily, like it's happening. It worked. It's great, but that's not how the fuck I want to do it.
No, but do you think putting Russ Wilson out there gives you any sort of a boost? You aren't getting you are losing.
Very similar production, but it looks more like an NFL offense. And I think that is part of what they want. They have to give him a shot. They brought him in. They have to let him play.
Why?
I understand why you want to keep Justin Fields. You can always go back to Justin. Justin knew that he was coming in as a backup, right?
Russell
knew that he was coming in as a starter. Russell was expected to be the starter. Justin Fields was expected to be the backup. Those were the established roles. You can't do it the opposite way. Like, Justin Fields can come back. Hey, listen, Russ doesn't have it no more. Listen, that's kind of the role that you were supposed to be, was his backup. He doesn't got it. You already proved that you can go out and do it again, youngster. That is how that story plays out. That's how you sell that. And that's the way it was established. Russell was established to be the starter. Like, when they traded for Russell Wilson for basically nothing, a bag of fucking balls, they were able to, say, hey, Russ is going to be our starter next year. And sure, other things happened, or however the fuck it happened. It's expected that Russ is to start. He has to start at least one game. He's healthy, he starts. If it doesn't look good, there's always the possibility to go back.
And I completely disagree. Who gives a fuck what you traded for him or what assets you used? You're
Evo,
winning
you're
with Justin
talking like
Fields.
a logical human being instead of an alpha personality GM who runs an NFL team who refuses to admit their goddamn mistakes. That is what we expect in military leadership. That is fuck. That sucks. But like we know this personality. You deal with this personality every day. You fucking dealt with it this week after you did some shit at work. People telling you that like that's just how it is, brother. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. It's entirely possible, but this is not like it is completely out of the realm. That's what they were going to do always.
The Steelers didn't trade away their entire future like the Browns did for Deshaun Watson. You barely gave up anything to get Russ Wilson. And to me, you are losing a big part of your offense by putting him in there. You lose the quarterback run game. One of the big things that Justin Fields provided that opened up other things in the offense was, hey, this guy could take off at any given time. He's a really good fucking runner. You're not scared about that with Russ at all. So if you know that Russ drops back to pass, you can maintain your lanes a little bit better and not have to worry about him fucking squirting out the side and running for fucking 40 yards. You have to worry about that with Justin Fields. I don't think it's a good move, and it's a tough move because it just looks wishy-washy if he looks bad this week and you have to go back to Justin Fields next week. But I don't think it really matters because you're going up against this Jets team. Again, very good defense. We'll see if their run defense wants to show up because they did not last week. But offensively, they looked a little bit more competent. Not good, but a little bit more competent without Nathaniel Hackett calling those plays. Todd Downing's not a great play caller. We saw that when he was calling plays in Tennessee, but he is better than Nathaniel Hackett because that is a very easy fucking bar to step over. And look, Devontae Adams' hamstring is going to be completely fucking healed. Obviously, he's going to be out there starting in this game. And
Devontae Adams' hamstring has been healed for probably a couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure. But theoretically, this should open up more stuff for a guy like Garrett Wilson, who is getting a huge volume of passes. But Aaron is going to throw the ball to his guy, Devontae. He feels that is a safety blanket for him. I don't like to say like, oh, the pass is going to be super indicative of the future in this situation, but I expect Aaron to force feed the ball to Devontae, which Devontae has not had since Derek Carr was there with the Raiders. Devontae is going to get force fed a lot of balls here. He's going to get force fed jump balls, and we're going to see what each of these guys still has in the tank. And I think that there is going to be at least some in the tank for Devontae. Devontae's going to make Aaron look a little bit better in this one. And if they want to be smart about it and spread things around a little bit more, Garrett Wilson should benefit from this as well.
Do you think he will? That's where I wanted to get to. My question. Do you think Garrett Wilson will benefit from this, or is his target share going to drastically drop because he's not Aaron's guy? And is it possible that they move him?
Target share is going to drop, but production will go up if things work correctly. Like his production has been good.
If things work correctly, if Aaron does what he's supposed to do and doesn't just feed his guy.
Yeah, and I hate Aaron Rodgers. We all know this. And I hate having him comboed back up with Devontae. But my thought is the Jets aren't going to trade Garrett unless a catastrophic injury happens here to Aaron or Devontae. And then that you don't trade Garrett in that point either. But I think that they are going to keep Garrett Wilson there. They don't make this move thinking like, oh, this season is kind of lost. They still think that they have a chance to make the playoffs. Otherwise, you don't trade for Devontae like this.
He's been bad. I brought it up earlier in the show.
You don't want to trade away an extremely good young receiver because Devontae's older, Aaron's older. That timeline is going to end at some point. Garrett's timeline is extensive. He has a lot of football left in him. You don't want to trade away that asset for draft picks because then you're looking towards next season, right? The only thing that they would want to trade for is pass rush help because they haven't had a great pass rush. Though Hassan Reddick signed today. He redid his contract.
I think we'll play today probably as well.
Maybe. I'm not sure if he will or not.
Situations.
We'll see. But either way, I'm taking the Jets in this one. I'm dropping the points. Remember, 9-0 last week, away favorites. Jets -2.5 over this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I do not think Russ Wilson is going to be a benefit going out there compared to Justin Fields. Maybe I'm proven wrong. Maybe their passing game increases. There's absolutely the potential for that because we know Russ has been a good passing quarterback in the past, better than Justin Fields has been in the past. Maybe we see a little bit more of that, and maybe the whole Russ Wilson not looking good was just a product of playing in Sean Payton's offense and under Sean Payton there in Denver. I don't know. But I think the Jets are a better team here. They're not necessarily a better defense. They're a good defense. Pittsburgh is still a very good defense. And the only way that I think this goes really bad for the Jets is if TJ Watt is all over Aaron Rodgers and makes his day hell.
Which he could be. But I'm rocking with you, man, because you know what? Here's the thing. Even though that they have to play Russ, because they have to play him. They have to make the switch. This is exactly right here. He's probably going to fail, but they have to play him. There's no way you can bring him in, trade any sort of asset, and not play him. You have to see what it looks like. Justin Fields is simple. Like, you just get it after the fact. He was already kind of brought in for that. I think the Jets probably get a nice little boost. Aaron Rodgers will feed Devontae. Devontae will show that he is a really good wide receiver and that they're on the same page. And it was not his fault what was going on, his lack of production out in fucking Vegas after he lost his guy, even though he wasn't having a lot of success with his guy, Derek Carr. I expect that the Jets will come out, probably play pretty well, probably win this game. 3 points is easy. I don't know what this offense is going to look like. I think they want it to look like a traditional offense in Pittsburgh, and it hasn't. So they're going to play Russ. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it makes any fucking difference because I do agree with you that they lose a massive element of their offense. Justin Fields running the ball has been huge for this team. Now is their offensive line good enough to stack up and run the ball against the Jets?
You think Arthur Smith can call a competent passing game?
No, I don't.
That's the thing. Like this team
because
is predicated on the run.
He doesn't work off the play action like he's supposed to. He just wants to keep feeding the run instead of utilizing it. He won't boot. Like, no, I don't. That's Jets -2.5.
It feels easy to me. Ready to be surprised by that one because all this shit happens all the time. It's hard for the coaches to know and call a game if they don't have a quarterback who's playing within the system.
It's fair.
I feel like Fields
is that system. He probably knows how that feels.
Yeah. By the way, Kevin Stefanski still hasn't won a playoff game. I bring that up too.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just taking pop shots at my guy Kevin Stefanski here. I'm sorry.
I love Kevin, but if we don't fucking figure it out today, it's gotta be one of the two, Deshaun or fucking Stefanski's got to go.
No. All righty.
How that's gonna
first
work.
Of our 2 Monday Night Football games, Ravens at Buccaneers should be another good game here. Played out in Tampa. What the heck? Oh, there we go. The Jacksonville game must have just ended because the screen all changed. But we have Baltimore going into Tampa favored -3.5 points at -110 odds, or you can give those points to Tampa Bay for -110 odds as well. Mike, I know Baker's your guy out there in Tampa. I know you're big on them Bucks. What do you got for this game?
I really like this Bucks team, man. They're playing really well. We have seen that Baker at times has played really well against this Ravens defense. It's not like this is an unfamiliar opponent to Baker. It's an unfamiliar opponent to the Buccaneers, but Baker knows the Ravens. He should have a little bit of an idea of what should be coming at him. I think that with his weapons that they can score. And the Ravens are also going to score a fuckload of points. Because his Bucks defense is still beat the fuck up, like real bad. Their running game is going to kind of dictate the way this goes. But I think that the Bucks can score enough to keep this thing close.
Oh, I think that they can score. Look, we're looking at the 2 highest scoring teams in the NFL over the past 3 weeks. Like, don't get that wrong. But I think both these teams can score.
And because they're both going to score, in my opinion, I expect this to be a close game. Give me the Bucks, 3 with the hook, which keeps me off the push. 3-point game. I think the Ravens probably win this thing. I think the Bucks keep it close, keep it within a field goal. Bucks plus 3.5.
And I wanted to take that as well, but some late stuff I was watching last night. No, there's late stuff I was watching last night about this game. A lot of the sharp betting is kind of switching on this. Let's see if I can't find the quick spread here. Yeah, 69% of the bets and 62% of the money are on Baltimore in this one, and that changed kind of dramatically recently. I don't know if we have word on Mike Evans or not. I know that you would probably know a little bit better because you got him on fantasy.
He is fucking active as far as I know.
There was question about whether or not he was going to play. I don't know that it really matters. This should be an offensive shootout type of game because as good as that Ravens defense has been for a while, they're not the same, but they are an extremely good running team. It has opened up the pass a little bit more for Lamar. Obviously, we saw the Buccaneers run all over the Saints last week and then show a pretty competent passing game as well. I expect a lot of points in this one. Hit the over of 49.5 in this one. But I'm going to be dropping the points with the Ravens in this one. I'm going to follow the sharp bettors on this and drop those points.
All right. Ravens minus 3.5. I can't do it. Mike Evans active, full go, no problem. Not even, yep.
All righty. And next up, quick question here from Vasquez.
Ooh.
See the Bucks making some sort of push into the playoffs this year?
Yeah. Yes. I actually said it early in the year that I thought the Bucks might actually win that division. I wasn't sure that I liked the Falcons as much. I liked them more recently. If they can find a way to utilize Bijan the correct way and pass to him out of the fucking backfield, I will be more inclined to think Falcons. But I think the Bucks are good enough, and especially if they get healthy in that defense, that they'll win that division. I was big on them early on. So,
all righty. Moving on to our final game, our second Monday night game. We have the Chargers going into Arizona versus the Cardinals. Chargers are favored minus 1.5, minus 110 odds. So you can give the points to the Cardinals plus 1.5 odds. Marvin Harrison Jr. cleared to play through the concussion protocol after getting schwacked last week. Chargers have the best scoring defense in the NFL right now. That defense is kind of being slept on a little bit. Herbert actually started to pass a little bit more last week too, getting my guy Kamani Vidal involved. We'll see if he gets any more play out there. Arizona also 0-4 versus non-divisional teams this year. Where are you going with this one, Mike?
Man, the Chargers are really good on defense. They've been really good on defense all year. I think they will continue to be good on defense today. The Cardinals have run into some teams that are not great on defense and have been able to score points at times. They've run into a lot of teams that can't play defense and they get fucking stifled. The up and down play of Kyler Murray is becoming a problem. We like Kyler. Kyler's great for fantasy. Kyler's great to fucking bet on because he's going to put up yards. But this team doesn't score enough fucking points. Last couple weeks, they lose a game to the Packers. They only scored 13. They lose a game to the Commanders. They only score 14. Beat the 49ers, divisional opponents, score 24. What are we really expecting to see here? Against one of the best defenses in the NFL in terms of scoring, a team that struggles to score, I don't like it all. I'm going Commanders. Chargers, not Commanders. Chargers minus the 2.5.
1.5.
Did it change?
It's 1.5 on my screen.
All right. Well, when I bet it this morning, it was at 2.5. So I will definitely take Chargers minus 1.5. That's even better for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
And I'm kind of doing the same thing. Look, I'm hoping for a big game from Kyler. I'm hoping for a big game from James Conner because I'm starting him in fantasy. But beyond that, I'm taking the Chargers here. I'm dropping the points. I'm riding with the road favorites stat from last week. Worst case, I think that 70% of those could hit. Chargers looking a little bit better last week. Again, as far as a passing team, Cardinals, you just don't know what you're going to get. Like some against non-divisional opponents, they've been pretty shit. But you're still getting production out of these guys sometimes. Like it's boom or bust type shit. I don't know if it's because fucking Call of Duty is about to come out next week or whatever, that Kyler's getting a little bit fucking wishy-washy. I need them to put up good games and have this at least be a close one like it's calling for here with the 1.5 spread. But I'm going to drop the points for the Chargers.
All right. By the way, Call of Duty getting ready to come out. I don't is our boy $20 is $20 back to the streaming life? Is he back up now that he's?
I don't know that he's been streaming yet, but I know for sure his ass is going to be playing.
Oh yeah, for sure. So if $20 is $20 is back up, go check him out over on Twitch.
And Vasquez, we did not talk about this again. Look, trade deadline is on November 5th.
No,
it's on November 5th. Make sure that you get out on November 5th and pay attention to your team and see what they're going to be trading. It's the most important thing happening on November 5th.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing else special happening. Yeah, as far as trade deadline stuff, it's a bye week for Dallas. They still have next week in their game to kind of figure out if they want to try to push for anything with this team. It's tough. Like if you could find a running back that someone is willing to trade for, I think that dramatically helps your offense. But you got to go after a starter.
Etienne.
I don't know if Etienne fits. Like, yeah, Etienne should be a trade candidate, but I don't know if he fits with this team and what they're going to do. I think
where else is there a running back that you're going to get that's on the outs right now?
On the outs, I don't know. Again, if you can get a Chuba Hubbard,
you can get Etienne fucking today. They'll fly his ass from London to fucking Dallas.
Yeah, especially with how Tank Bigsby's been playing out there today. But I just don't know that Etienne moves the needle with that team personally. I think they need more of a traditional runner. And like I said, like a Chuba Hubbard, I think you get cheaper, especially with them having Stewart coming back. That like you would really have to start to scrape the barrel on some of these teams to figure out, where you can get a guy. But I think that's the biggest thing is like if they can bring some semblance of a run game in. If you want to make some sort of a crazy move for Cortland Sutton, who received 0 fucking catches on Thursday night, like that's a really good receiver. If you want to add to that receiving core and help out a little bit,
add to that receiving core.
But it's going to take
Cortland Sutton.
It's going to take some fucking assets, and I don't know that Jerry wants to give up those draft picks because he loves his draft picks. So, especially the high ones.
I don't know why.
Right. So, I don't know if I see them making a move or not. Yeah, they are kind of depleted along the defensive line. They could use some help there, but so are a lot of other teams, and I don't know that Dallas can be competitive in that market. So we'll see. My guess would be no, that they're not going to make any meaningful trades by the deadline, but I guess you never know.
Yeah. All right. God, was that our last game of the day?
That was the last game, buddy.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking Sunday football.
Mm-hmm.
Full
and
slate.
while you're almost full slate, we do have two teams on bye. We have the Bears and the Cowboys both on bye this week. But with that, you want to throw up our picks for the week, and then we'll get into our Lineman Lounge parlays?
Hell yeah. Let me pull this up one more time. All right, here we go. Afternoon slate. I don't remember where we left off, so we're going to start with Commanders. Both of us, 9.5, dropping them. I'll go Raiders plus 7.5. You're dropping 7.5 for the Rams. A move you don't normally do. Couple times today, you took bigger spreads, over a touchdown spreads for you. Talking in the big game, important game today, 49ers, Chiefs. I go 49ers minus 1.5, Chiefs plus 1.5 for you. Both on the Jets, minus 2.5. I got Bucks plus 3.5. You're riding the Ravens minus 3.5. Both on the Chargers minus 1.5. That is your entire slate of games for the rest of the day. You got 25 minutes in right now if you want to bet all of that. If you bet mine, even though the points are a little different, you're going to win about $44,000. However, if you want to bet a smaller parlay, a little more likely odds, you can go with one of the Lineman Lounge parlays. For me, listen, Nick Chubb back in. I expect somewhere between 10 to 15 touches for Nick Chubb today in his first return. 10 to 15 touches and his touches are not going to come in any other facet probably than carries, maybe one catch. If Nick Chubb is only 80% of old Nick Chubb, he goes from 5 yards per carry to 4 yards per carry. If you're not sure how the math works, blame your fucking high school teachers. Okay. Over 38.5 yards for Nick Chubb feels like a slam dunk for me. As long as Nick Chubb actually goes out there and plays. Got that all day. Even with Jameis Winston no longer available to come in and make an offense go if it doesn't look good, which I'm still mad about. Saquon Barkley, revenge game, going into the Giants, over 90 yards total rushing and receiving. Josh Allen, I expect to have a big day. 2 passing touchdowns from him. Get plus 529 on the odds. Evo, what you got, brother?
Yeah, I got Kansas City money line on this one. They're just so fucking good coming off of a bye. I do like that 49ers game. This is the part of my parlay I feel weakest about, but just the statistics from this out. Kansas City and Mahomes off of a bye are very good. So Kansas City money line. Baker and Lamar combining for over 500 passing yards out there. I think, again, both these are 2 really good scoring offenses. They're going to put up yards. They're going to be passing the ball. Baker and Lamar over 500. And then the New York Jets first half winner. So at the end of the first half, Jets are ahead, which I fully expect that they could be in this game versus the Steelers team led by Russell Wilson. First half winner on that one. That gives you 781 odds. Pretty fucking strong odds. I didn't expect it to be that good. So if you want to try to be a little bit crazy with it, throw a couple dollars down on that.
All right. We had a couple comments come in here as well. Actually, one person hopping in, Dean O. Henson, riding the Bills, big Bills fan. I know this guy. He's actually a big Josh Allen fan is what he is. That's why he's riding the Bills. Actually, kind of a theme. Wyoming people, they don't have a pro sports team that they normally root for, or they don't have a team to root for, so they root for the Broncos. However, when Josh Allen showed up on campus in Laramie, Wyoming, he turned a lot of people into motherfucking Bills fans when he was drafted. A lot of Bills fans in Wyoming. So Bills Mafia, if you're not aware, Wyoming loves you guys. Bills Mafia would love Wyoming. You guys like jumping through tables. They like tipping cows and shooting guns. So that would be a match made in heaven for those 2 people to connect. And it's also correct. It's not a fun time. Not a fun time at all to be a Cleveland fan. Last night was tough. I hate losing to the fucking Yankees of all teams. I would rather lose to any other team in any other sport. I don't know why, but the Yankees. I hate them. I take that back. Michigan. Fuck Michigan. And then the Yankees. So we're not going to do the math. Listen, this is not a math show. If you can't do the math, I'm sorry for your luck. 5, 4, 80%. That's all we're doing. Evo, my man. That's the parlays. That's our picks. The entire day of football. We got anything else for the people before we get out of here?
No, man, I don't think so. I'm about to piss my chonies, and I've got like 20 minutes till my game starts here, just about. I'm super fucking excited. Hopefully a good one. I'm hoping for that good outcome. I'm ready to gink. I'm gonna gink my pants.
Gink it. All right, baby. I like that. I'm not ginking it. I'm going the other way. But my man, I appreciate you. And to everybody who tuned in today, I appreciate you as well. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful. Just a couple dummy thick idiots who are, trying to do something fun. This is not necessarily like every other show you're going to get. We're going to be a little boisterous. We're going to offend some people. We're going to say some shit that might piss some people off. But that's what we love about this, what we love about this show, and we are thankful that anytime you guys show up. If you want to interact with the show, go to any one of the places below: X, Facebook, TikTok, call line, which is now closed, and head on over to our YouTube page. It would be super helpful if you guys would like, share, and subscribe to the channel. But with that, we are going to get the fuck out of here. Evo, give the people one last word.
Skol Vikings, Kings in the North. Let's gink.
All right. Let's not be the bottom of the North today, Browns. Let's not be the bottom. With that, we're going to get out of here. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lyman Lounge. See ya.